екстремни суши, големи поплави, сериозни временски непогоди како и шумски пожари. Ова се последици од климатските промени за кои предупредува најновиот извештај на Меѓувладиниот панел за климатски промени на Обединетите нации. Во над 2000 страници светските научни лидери предупредуваат за кои опасности ги чека човекот и целата природа доколку не преземеме ништо. Катрина Абра е климатски активист, член на Институтот за клима од Канада, како и промотор на овој извештај. Тима на Дома и постои неколку важни прашања.
I guess the current state of the climate is terrifying, really. Yeah, maybe that's the word that I would use, terrifying. If we take a look at the impacts of climate change, they do happen on that very local scale. It looks different for everyone around the world. But what the most recent IPCC reports have told us is that really everyone around the world is now feeling the impacts of climate change. And that the solutions to climate change, while they are happening at a very regional scale, have to be linked up to a global scale of action. I think the biggest barriers that we've seen to that global scale of action so far has been, of course, political will. So time and time again, we hear from the world scientists that we have the technology we need. We have the knowledge to take action on this issue. And it's really our governments that are dragging their heels and not doing what they need to do to confront one of the greatest crises of our time. And I think a big reason that governments aren't willing to take the action that they need to take is because many of them are beholden to the interests of the fossil fuel industry. And this is something that the most recent IPCC reports are also very clear on, that a big part of the reason we haven't done what we need to do on climate change so far is because of misinformation and lobbying against climate action that the fossil fuel industry has been waging for decades. Impacts of climate change will be with us for a while longer. So even if we take dramatic action to reduce emissions, the IPCC lets us know that about half of the world's population will continue to experience significant effects from climate change, from extreme weather to food shortages for many decades to come. So what that means is we have to be doing two things at once for the next few decades. We need to be taking that dramatic action to cut carbon pollution and clean up our atmosphere. And at the same time, we need to be making our communities more resilient so that we are able to withstand the ongoing impacts of climate change, even if we're able to reverse those emissions trends. If we aren't unable to double down on this energy transition to build the resilience of communities around the globe, here's what we're going to be seeing. We're going to be seeing even more extreme and unpredictable weather events, flooding, huge sea level rise for coastal communities. We're, of course, already experiencing significant melting at the polar extremes, and that melting will result in not only that sea level rise, but likely will also compound climate changes as we see changes in ocean currents happen because of all of that water flooding into the ocean from melting ice. And so we're likely to see really several cascading crises happening at the same time. So communities having to deal with potentially extreme weather events like wildfires and storms, while also having to deal with infrastructure events like flooding from sea level rise, and not being able to finish doing one before the other. So when I think about the climate crisis on a personal level, I feel a lot of grief. I feel a lot of heartache and sadness for not only the other species that we share this planet with, but for humans ourselves. I mean, the biggest thing that we're doing by driving climate change is making our planet uninhabitable for ourselves, really, right? So we're changing our planet and the atmosphere of our planet so dramatically that we're actually making this very beautiful and delicate balance that allows for human life and civilization as we know it possible. And so I feel sad that humans who I believe in, I think we're capable of incredible things. I think we're really letting ourselves down, and in particular, we're letting future generations down who won't be able to see the kinds of biodiverse ecosystems and rejoice in them in the same ways that we have gotten to.
Светската научна јавност е многу загрижена за последиците од климатските промени и смета дека единствено решение е вршење притисок врз владите. Во Македонија, каде што промените на климата се поголеми од година во година, треба да се бара исто. Да бараме заштита на шумите, правилно управување на природните ресурси, како градење на систем што го заштити здравјето на луѓето, но и природата од опасностите што доаѓаат. Само така ќе обезбедиме климатска отпорност, што ќе обезбеди подобра иднина.